Have you ever seen a video just explode online and wondered, how on earth did they do that? A lot of people chalk it up to pure luck, but it's not. It's actually a system, a precisely engineered machine. In this explainer, we're going to pop the hood and deconstruct the blueprint for a video that was built from day one, not just for views, but for immediate monetization.
Everything kicks off with a hook just like this one. Now, this isn't just some catchy quote. It's what's known as a validation statement. It basically reaches right through the screen, finds a very specific person watching, and hey, maybe that's you, and says, "That gut feeling you have? You're not cynical, you're advanced." And just like that, in the first 5 seconds, the viewer is absolutely hooked because they feel seen. They feel completely understood.
So here's our roadmap for breaking this whole thing down. First, we'll look at the big picture blueprint. Then we'll dive into the specific mindset they're targeting. We'll cover how they engineer the perfect hook, design content that keeps you glued to the screen, and finally, the monetization engine that makes it all so profitable. All right, first up, the blueprint. Now, the core idea here is simple, but it's really powerful. It's about shifting your thinking from creating content to building viral magnets. These are videos that are designed from the very beginning to attract not just any old audience, but a super engaged one that high-value advertisers are, frankly, desperate to get in front of.
The video we're dissecting is titled "Psychology of People Who Can See Right Through You." So why this topic? Honestly, it's genius. It taps directly into this powerful universal desire we all have to feel uniquely perceptive. It finds anyone out there who feels like a human lie detector and basically reframes that feeling from a burden into a straight-up superpower. And that brings us to what might be the most critical part of this whole strategy. See, most creators start with a topic. This blueprint, it starts with a person. The real power here comes from targeting a very specific mindset.
So let's meet the truth seeker. This is our target. The entire video is engineered for this exact person, someone who prides themselves on seeing through all the noise and the nonsense. They don't just watch content, they're looking for validation for their worldview. If you can target them correctly, you create an audience that is loyal from the get-go. Okay, so you have this skeptical viewer in your sights. How do you actually get them to click? Well, you don't just cross your fingers and hope for the best. No, you engineer a hook so perfectly tailored to their mindset that they feel this almost irresistible urge to find out what's inside. And this table just breaks down the formula perfectly. Just look at these two elements working together. The title, with that little parenthetical, "It's a curse and a gift," it promises to explain a fundamental part of their identity. Then you've got the thumbnail text, "They already know," which just adds this thick layer of mystery. Who are they? What do they know? This creates what's called a curiosity gap, and our brains are just hardwired to want to solve it. But listen, getting the click is only half the battle, right? To get monetized, you need people to actually watch the video. You need that watch time, that retention. And the content itself is engineered to hold their attention by being, as the source material calls it, uncomfortably accurate. The entire retention strategy really just boils down to answering this one question. And the answer? Well, it's the secret sauce. You take their perceived flaws, their insecurities, the things that make them feel weird or different, and you brilliantly reframe them as hidden strengths. And here's exactly how it's done. Check out this list of 5 reframes. For instance, that feeling of being way too sensitive to rejection, that's reframed as learned rejection sensitivity. That tendency to distrust big systems, that's not being cynical. No, that's institutional skepticism because they've seen systems fail. Every single point makes the viewer just nod along thinking, wow, that's me. It's incredibly powerful. This slide really shows that transformation in action. On the left, you've got the negative ways they might see themselves: judgmental, detached, cynical. Then the script works this kind of psychological magic, transforming them into these empowering identities on the right: pragmatic realism, mental efficiency, or my favorite, highly evolved curiosity. This is how you build that powerful bond that makes the viewer feel not just understood, but celebrated. And now, we get to the payoff. All of this psychological engineering, it all leads to one primary goal: getting monetized, and getting there fast. This is where we see exactly how the strategy converts that high retention into cold, hard revenue. First things first, it's about SEO and keywords. This topic was not chosen at random. It's actually reverse engineered to hit high CPM search terms. Now, CPM stands for cost per mil, which is basically what advertisers are willing to pay for every 1,000 views. And topics like emotional intelligence or cognitive complexity are super valuable to advertisers, which means every single view is worth more money. Second, it triggers something the source calls the pattern effect. What happens is, a viewer feels so seen by this one video that they think, finally, somebody gets it, and then they immediately go and binge watch your entire back catalog of videos. This binging behavior is the absolute fastest way to rack up those 4,000 watch hours you need for YouTube monetization.
So this chart here breaks down that whole monetization engine into 3 key parts. As you can see, a huge chunk of its power, 40%, comes from targeting those high-value keywords. Another 35% comes from creating that super shareable, validating content. And that last 25%? That's the pattern effect, driving that crucial binge watching that gets you across the monetization finish line.
And that really brings us to our final thought. This blueprint, it's more than just a video strategy. It's a communication strategy. It's about understanding an audience so deeply that you can articulate a hidden truth they feel, but maybe can't quite put into words. So the question to leave you with is this. Whether it's for content, for marketing, or just for connecting with people, what hidden truth about your audience could you be the first to reveal?